Hello, class. Welcome for today's lesson. I hope you are all well. Today, we are still going on with our CGE course. And today, we are going to do chapter 3, where we're going to cover the board governance models. If you have discovered, CGE is on issues of board, the board that runs the organization. In the previous lesson, we were looking at the theories that exist in an organization, and we realized that the issue of agency and principal applies, where the principals are the shareholders and the agents are the managers, the executive managers and the board that are entrusted to run the organization for the common good of all. So today we are going to consider the board governance models. Which models do we have? This is a big board, but within the board of directors, there are some, like maybe the committees, there are some other groups. Like the first one that you're going to look today, number 1, you're going to consider the advisory. I'm calling it the advisory board. Yeah, there's a word board here. The advisory board. This board comes from the bigger board of directors. Then out of that big board of directors, we get advisory board. What is the work of the advisory board? Maybe that's the question to ask ourselves now. An advisory board is a group of individuals who provide strategic guidance. Remembering that the board is the one that is entrusted to make the strategic decisions for the organization. Now, out of it, yeah, they carve out an advisory board that its work, yeah, is to consider making the decisions, the strategic guidance. Its work is to provide strategic guidance, advice, and expertise to an organization, typically without having formal decision-making authority. So maybe you're going to look at now, what are the features of this board? Why is it extracted from the main board, yeah, and it is called an advisory board, so that it can give advice, yeah, on the strategic decisions that the company needs to take, yeah, to give advice and also its expertise. So we are going to ask ourselves, so what are the features? What are the features of this advisory board? And one of the features of the advisory boards is expertise, yeah, expertise. Expertise and knowledge. What are we saying? The advisory board members are chosen based on their expertise in the relevant fields, yeah, such as business, industry, finance, law, technology, marketing, with the organizations, within the organization's objective. So maybe out of the big board, because a board is comprised of various individuals, maybe some of them are, depending with the expertise, there are those ones who are lawmakers, they are financiers, there are people in financial, maybe accounting or management, doctors, depending with the type of organization that exists. So we are looking at why have an advisory board depending on the expertise, yeah? Because if you are an expert, you're able to give the accurate advice to run the organization. So some of the things that we consider is the expertise and knowledge, yeah? The other thing is strategic guidance. That's number 2. Strategic guidance is also a consideration that we consider, that we look at. It's a feature a feature that has to be considered when the advisory board is being formed. What do we mean by strategic guidance? The advisory board provides strategic guidance and advice to the organization's leadership, yeah, offering insight into challenges, opportunities, and potential causes of action. So they have to have that capacity of offering strategic guidance, because you remember that this is the group, this is the part of the organization that makes the strategic decisions that affect the overall, the running of the organization. So they must be strategic thinkers. They must be strategic guys or experts who offer guidance. The other consideration or feature about the strategic board is about decision support. We can say decision support. Under decision support, we are saying, while advisory board do not have formal decision-making authority, their recommendations and insights can inform the decision-making process of the organization's leadership. They offer decision support. Yeah, the decision they make may not be overall because the whole board has to approve it, but they kind of give decision, they support decisions. Yeah, they do support recommendations. They give insights. Why? Because they are experts. The other feature about them is networking and connections. Yeah, networking. And under networking and connections, we can say advisory board members often bring valuable networks and connections that can benefit the organization by opening doors to potential partnerships, clients, investors, and we're saying that these people are experts in their own fields. So when they come in, they have a great network behind them that they can consult when it comes to decision making. So you see a doctor, but you see a hospital. Yeah, you see a legal person, but you see a legal firm. Yeah, so besides an individual, there's a whole network that surrounds that person, and that's why it is good to base them on issues of maybe their expertise and knowledge. So they have a networking that they bring and connections that they bring besides just being there as individuals. Number 5, they are also problem solving. Yeah, problem solving. And we can say advisory boards assists in problem solving by offering diverse perspectives and brainstorming solutions to complex issues faced by the organization. Yeah, these are brainstormers. They are people who bring opportunities. Yeah, they talk about the opportunities in the market. They come with new ideas and they discuss them. They advise the board. Yeah, if there is a problem that needs to be solved, they brainstorm. So they are experts in their own fields. They are strategic decision supporters. So they help in problem solving. Yeah, problem solving. They also are involved in innovation and creativity. That's another point that you can add here. Yeah, we can say innovation and creativity because the advisory board members can contribute fresh ideas and innovative approaches that may not have been considered by the organization's internal team. Now that they are experts in their own field, yeah, they are always having new ideas that they can bring to the organization and the board can discuss and it can help the organization to advance. So they offer innovative ideas and creativity. They offer their creativities to the board at large or even amongst themselves before it is brought to the board. We can also look at how is that advisory board composed, yeah? How is its composition and structure? How is it structured, this board? We're going to write here its structure because remember, it's being carved out from the main board, yeah? It is coming from the main board. So what is its composition? We can say we can discuss under composition, we can look at its size. And what we can say about its size, the size of an advisory board can vary based on the organization's needs, but it is often comprised of a small group of experts, typically 3 to 12, yeah? It's just a small group because you can imagine a board has maybe 13 members. So it has to be like a small number because it's just some experts that have been chosen to form this board. So it says depends based on the organization's need. Then the issue of diversity. Diversity also arises. Where diversity, it's beneficial to have advisory board members with diverse backgrounds, experiences, and perspective to provide a well-rounded range of advice. Yeah, remember we have said in the previous features about their expertise. So diversity is also very key. Yeah, time limits. Advisory board members may serve for a specific term, after which new members can be appointed to ensure free and fresh flow of ideas. This board, when it's composed, yeah, it may just maybe learn after 1 year and then we come up with another one. Because the thing is, we really need innovationness and creativity. So it's terms of reference or term limits, yeah, depends with the whole board, yeah. Their meetings, advisory boards typically meet periodically. They can choose to be meeting periodically, quarterly, biannually, yeah, but they have got to have meetings. And then there's laws and the responsibilities They have specific roles and responsibilities of the advisory board as well as their composition. As in, you see, if it is like they're discussing an issue that is legally affecting the organization, they will all brainstorm. So they are given a role and a responsibility to discuss and maybe even give their advice. Or the moment they do the brainstorming, they come up with an issue, they now throw it to the greater board. Yeah, now that is all about advisory board. We're going to look at the next board. That's one model that in the big board, we come up with an advisory team. Yeah, so the patron. Yeah, there is patron governance model. Now, under this model, it's just similar to the advisory board, but this one doesn't have much. It's just similar to the advisory board, yeah, model. The difference is that patron model performs duties related to fundraising. Actually, this one, we can even just call it a fundraising. Fundraising, it's funds, issues of fund. It's a fundraising model, yeah? It's just like this one that is carved out from the big board, but the purpose of this patron model is to think about where finances for the organization will come from. Their work is to fund the organization, yeah? Board members who have personal wealth. This one we consider uzito, the weight of this person, uzito, the weight that he brings to the organization. Yeah, uzito wa mtu. Watu wenye wako sorted, they have wealth because they sometimes use that wealth, yeah, to benefit the organization, yeah. Board members who have personal wealth, they contribute their own funds to the organization and use their network to gain outside contribution for the organization. Definitely, if you are wealthy, your level of friends or the people who surround you are equally wealthy, your network. And so we can look at the people who are wealthy, personal wealthy, and they can contribute to the organization, and also look at the network that surrounds them so that they can help us to meet our goals and our objectives. Yeah, they have less influence over the CEO than with the advisory board. These ones have less influence. They're just chosen because of their wealth, the personal wealth, to help in funding the organization. So they really don't have an influence like the advisory board. You know, the advisory board, once they make decisions, they have to be, some of these decisions that they come up with have to be effected in the organization. But the patron model, it's just an issue of fundraising money for the organization. Let's look at the cooperative model. The cooperative model, yeah, is the board that operates without a CEO, yeah, makes decisions as a group of peers. Cooperative is where people come together. They all have equal rights. Yeah, we can say a cooperative model refers to a specific organizational structure and approach where a group of individuals or businesses collaborate. They come together. Cooperative, yeah, it is the coming together of individuals or groups, yeah, to achieve a common goal and mutual interest. The thing is, we all come together as a cooperative, groups or individuals coming together for their mutual benefits, yeah, their mutual gain. So in this one, we are going to look at it like a democratic model, yeah, because there are no hierarchies. There is no one who is higher than the other one. Yeah, they are all in the same level. Yeah, no individual has power over the others. Yeah, so cooperatives, also referred as co-ops, are member-owned and member-controlled organizations that prioritize the needs and well-being of their members over profit generation. For cooperatives, yeah, like this one model, the issue of making profit is a subsidiary, it's a secondary function. The main function is where the members achieve they achieve their goals, yeah, well-being of the members. The cooperative model can be applied to various sectors, including agriculture, financing, housing, where just people come together. Like an example, like if it's like housing, people can come together, not really for making profit, but ensuring that every member in that group gets a house. Yeah, that is their well-being. So there is no one who is higher than the other. The ultimate goal is every member getting a house. So the characteristics of a cooperative model is that members' ownership, it is for everyone, all the members. There is democratic control. We are all equal, yeah? It is also voluntary and it is open membership. The groups agree it is voluntary. No one is coerced to join a cooperative model. Yeah, mutual benefit for all the members. Yes, limited return. It's a secondary. Returns are secondary. Yeah, they all learn, they all get trained on how to operate. Yeah, so it is an independent feature. So that's all about cooperative. Then let's look at the management team model. A management team model is where within the board, we know a board has both executives and non-executives. Yeah, the executives are the ones who are involved in the daily operations of the organization, like the CEO and the departmental heads or the members, the executives, the management team that run the organization. But there is also those ones who are non-executives. They just come to run the organization, but from outside. So we are saying under the management team is a crucial element that outlines the structure and laws of the management team within a company. Yeah, we are looking at the management team now within the board. Yeah, it has the executives and the non-executives. We are looking at these executives here, the management team that has its team leader as the CEO of the organization. And we are saying, so the management team model defines how decision-making, leadership, and operational activities are organized to ensure the effective and efficient functioning of the organization. These are the people on the ground, watu wenye wako huko mashinani. So they have to ensure that the organization is run effectively and efficiently. They define who is the one, okay, they define the leadership positions, who is who to head there, yeah? Who is in charge of this department? They are the ones who look at how are the activities being done, or who is in charge of which activity in the organization. How are the resources being distributed in the various departments within the organization? The issue of daily management of the organization, those operational activities in the organization. The management team is responsible for executing the strategies and policies set by the board of directors. Whatever is set by the board here, where they are included, the two teams are included. Now, these ones are involved in executing, yeah, the strategies and the policy set by the board of directors. And they are also accountable for achieving the company's goals and objectives. Now, let's consider maybe their components, yeah? Their components of the management team tool. Yeah, it is included in it. We have the executive leadership, functional areas, clear roles and responsibility, communication and collaboration. Yeah, they do execute the strategic decisions that have been decided by the whole team. So literally the management team is involved in the operations of the organization. And that is a team, yeah, a separation between the executives and the non-executive. Let's look at the other team, the policy. Let's consider the policy team, board. This is the policy mode model. The policy mode model is a corporate governance structure that emphasizes the strategic decision-making role of the board of directors in setting policies. As the word suggests, this is on the issue of setting policies that run the organization. We say that corporate governance involves the principles, the policies, and the practices that are embraced by an organization, that are used to run an organization. So when you're looking at the policy model, we are literally looking at the group that is involved in setting policies for the organization and guiding the overall direction of the organization. The model focuses on the separation of strategic oversight and operational management, with the board primarily responsible for policy formulation and the management team responsible for day-to-day operations. Yeah. So here, this is a group that is just like maybe here. This one is used to, it's carved out from the board to come up with policies that run the organization. Yeah. They are the people in charge of the policies. Yeah. Formulation. Yeah, they come up with policies, they formulate the policies, and then those policies are given to the management team here so that they can be able to execute those policies. So majorly, this is a board that is, they are called policy makers, policies makers, formulators. Yeah. So the features of the policy board makers is that they are involved in strategy. They are strategic in focus. Why? Policies made, it's also like part of the strategic decisions because they affect the whole organization. Yeah. So they are strategically focused because any decision on policy that they come up with affects the whole organization. Yeah. They do policy formulation. They also do monitoring and oversight. They just can't come up with a policy and they don't offer oversight. They don't monitor. They have to look to it that the management team, yeah, executes the same policy that has been formulated. Yeah. They are also part of the executive leadership, but they have separation of roles. So their work is to policy make, yeah, formulation. They are also part of the greater board of directors. So those ones are involved. There's a group that is involved in policy setting up. Yeah. So we move to this other one, the fundraising board model. We mentioned here about the fundraising, and it's also appearing here. But under this one, we're just saying the supply organization with resources, it needs to pursue its mission. This one and this one are the same, almost the same. But fundraising, it's typically not a primary function of the board of directors within a corporate governance framework. The primary responsibilities of a board of directors typically revolve around strategic decision-making, policy setting, oversight of the management. Yeah. Ensuring the company's long-term success. That's the work of the board. Yeah. While the board may be involved in setting high-level fundraising strategies or reviewing major capital raising initiatives. Yeah. The day-to-day fundraising activities are usually managed by the management team, especially finance. So this is just a group that looks at the financing of the organization, fundraising strategies, yeah, or reviewing major capital raising initiatives. Maybe an organization has a major capital raising initiative. Then it comes up with a group, yeah, from the board that can be involved in that. Different from this one. This one, we described this one as a group of people who have money, personal. Yeah, they are guys who are doing well financially, and they use their personal wealth to help or to finance the organization. But in this one, these ones are selected to oversee the initiatives, yeah, capital raising initiatives within the organization, and also reviewing fundraising strategies that the organization, the board comes up with some fundraising activities. So this one is given to this team. Yeah, a model, it's given to this team that is within the greater board. Yeah, so let's look at the traditional. We come to the traditional model. Traditional model, you know, there has been evolving. Yeah, organizations have been evolving from the tradition, embracing the modern way of doing things. So the traditional model typically refers to a governance structure that was prevalent in many organizations those years for a significant period before more contemporary governance practices and models were introduced. This traditional model often had certain characteristics. We're discussing of how it used to be. It used to have some certain characteristics, yeah? Those characteristics, one of them was that it concentrated on its powers, yeah? There was centralization of power. Unlike the modern way of management, traditional centralization of power was within the board. Yeah, it was just the board which was to say everything or discuss everything. Yeah, as in board was to speak as one voice. They all had to agree on everything. Yeah, yeah, that is past. That's historic. Yeah, and centric. Yeah, concentration of power. It was just within those individuals. Yeah, so there was limited shareholder involvement. Shareholders were not. There was like no democracy where shareholders, the way we said in topic number 1, that all the stakeholders that affect the organization should be involved. Their interests should be looked upon, yeah? In this one, traditional, the shareholders did not have any say. They were not involved in decision making, yeah? Limited board independence. The board that existed, maybe there was one influential shareholder who would say, This is the way things should be done, and there was no voice from the board, yeah, to challenge some decisions that came up. Yeah, there was minimal accountability, there was lack of diversity, yeah, there was short-term focus, minimal stakeholders engagement. Now, that is something that used to happen. But with the modernization now, the board that we have, as in shareholders, the stakeholders have to come in. We have to look at the interests of the customers. We have to look at the interests of the suppliers. We have to look at the interests of the regulators and the financiers. Everyone's interest has to be represented, unlike the traditional type of a model. So let's look also at the cover. What is that? Cover board. Yeah, I meant, oh, there is Cortex here. Cortex is just a focus. This is a kind of a board that focuses on the clients, yeah, clients and the community in the marketplace. It focuses on the value an organization brings to the community. Yeah, this is not very common. It just considers the interest of the community or the clients or the customers without now, it looks at the ends, yeah, the end, yeah, but it's not very common, yeah. So let's look at the consensus board model. The consensus board model is a relatively rare and unique approach to corporate governance. Yeah, consensus from the word consensus is we must agree, yeah, we must be in the same level, yeah. So it's a relatively rare and unique approach to corporate governance that emphasizes collaborative decision making and seeks to achieve consensus among board members. You see, within a board, you cannot all agree. Sometimes they have to vote and maybe agree on a decision, or agree on a decision by way of voting. So the issue of consensus where one person may be something and all the people agree, it's not very common. So this model contrasts with more traditional models where decision might be made through voting or hierarchical structures. In a consensus board model, the goal is to foster shared ownership of decisions and encourage open dialogue among members. You see, within the consensus, what that means is that you're like all democratic, all board members are equal. Yeah, we all have one vote. We can equally vote in responsibility, in liability, in decision making, in accountability. You're all held liable. Yeah, if you make all of you, everything is about you're all equal. Yeah. So part of the key features of the consensus board model is that collaborative decision making. It is an open dialogue. You all discuss about it. The share ownership of decisions. Yeah. Conflict of resolution. As in everything is put on the table. Yeah. Share ownership of decisions and encourage open dialogue among board members. And by the end of the day, you all agree, you all come into consensus. Yeah. It's a way of, it's a model. It's a model of board governance model. Then when it comes to the competency model, this is about skills. Competency board models refer to governance approach that places a strong emphasis on the competencies and skills. This is about skills, yeah? Skills of the board members. This looks at the skills and the competencies of the members. In this model, the selection, composition, and performance of the board would be guided by the specific competencies and expertise required for effective governance. Here you consider the skills, yeah? You consider the skills like law, like finances, financials, architectural, law, those, yeah, expertise. Yeah, this is based on the expertise, yeah? Yeah, it's formed on basis of skills of the board, yeah? Here, the features of such a model is competency framework, skills, diverse skill sets, yeah, ongoing training. Because of the kind of skill you have, you involve it into training the members of the team. Committee expertise, performance assessment because of the skills that the members have within this board. This is based on skills and competency. So from there, we're going to consider the governance of family-owned firms. Now, these are like family businesses. Number 11. We're going to look at the governance of family-owned firms. Yeah, family-owned firms. It's one area that how do you separate? An organization is supposed to be legally, yeah, legally it's legal. It's a legal body by itself. Yeah. In corporate governance, we're looking at how the shareholders delegate their powers and authority to the board so that they can run the organizations on their behalf. Okay. And the shareholders entrusts the powers and authority to the board. What about a family business where you run the business, but you also have agents or managers who are employed in the same organization? Governance of family-owned farms. Governance in family-owned farms involves managing the unique dynamics, challenges and opportunities that arise due to the family's influence on the business. You can be sure any business, family business, and family members are involved, then the family interests are there, and that is a challenge. The farms blend family considerations with business practices to ensure the long-term success of both the company and the family relationship. Aspects to consider in the governance of family-owned farms. You see, a family farm is very difficult where especially the family members are involved and also people from outside. They hire managers to run the business. So how do you separate powers? Issues of conflict of interest. Yeah. So we are saying aspects to consider in the governance of family-owned farms. One, there are things that has to be considered. Yeah. And one of the things to consider is clear governance structure. It just has to be clear. The structure has to be well defined. It just has to be well defined. Yeah. Establish a governance structure that clearly defines the roles and responsibility of family members, the owners, and non-family executives. This includes delineating the roles of the board of directors, family council, and management of team. Now, that has to be done. Yeah, there has to be a clear governance structure. If you're a family, these are your roles and your responsibility. If the other person is a manager, these are your roles and your responsibility to avoid the challenge of conflicts of interest. So it has to have a clear governance structure. Who is in charge of what? Yeah, there has to be that professionalism in the business. Then the number two, separation of ownership and management. It has to be very clear. Separation of ownership. Separation of ownership and management. Clear separate ownership from management to ensure that qualified individuals lead the company. This reduces the risks of nepotism and enhances professionalism. That is separation of ownership and management. And it comes to business. The professionalism skills have to be employed. Yeah, there has to be separation of ownership from management for the success of every organization. Yeah, to ensure that qualified individuals lead the company, not because I'm the owner and maybe this is a law firm and I have no expertise in law, but because I'm the owner, I am the CEO there. Definitely that is defining doom for the organization. So there has to be separation of ownership and management, and to make sure that qualified individuals lead the company. The other feature to consider when we are learning family-owned farms is professional management practices. Professional management practices. Yeah. Professional management practices. Adopt sound management practices and professionalize the management team. Family members should be hired and promoted based on merit and competence. Yeah, they have to be hired like any other person within the organization. Professionalism management principles defines and says that you are promoted on merit. Yeah, you are promoted based on competence. Yeah, not solely because your family connections. Well, this is said, but I don't know how practical it is in the reality. Yeah, but professional management practice, where if it is promotion, you're promoted on basis of competence. Yeah, so that should be considered. Yeah, not just because you are family, so you are just promoted. No. Another thing that should apply in governments of family-owned farm is family constitution or charter. There has to be a family constitution that defines some things that affects the family. Develop a family constitution or charter that outlines the family values, visions, rules for the participation in the business. As a family, sit together and come up with a constitution that governs the family so that you don't interfere with the business. Yeah. So that is very important. This can address issues like succession. Within the family members, you know, when this one steps down the other one, you already have a constitution that guards the family. Yeah, conflicts. In the event there's conflicts, how do we resolve the conflicts? Ownership rights. Yeah, entry criteria for members. There is that constitution that guides when this one steps down, the other person is the one who comes into this position. Yeah, there has to be that family constitutional charter. Then there's also arrangement, the successful succession planning. Develop a robust succession plan that addresses leadership transitions, yeah, within the family. Identify the potential successor, considering both family members and non-family executives. Many businesses suffer the risks of shutting down or closing down when a top level manager maybe dies. Why? Because there is no plan for succession. Yeah, there is no one else who is being groomed to take over in the event something happens to the person who is in charge. So succession plan is very important. Corporate governance. Ensure strong corporate governance practices, including a well-structured board of directors. Yeah, there has to be a board of director in place. Yeah, with a balance of family and independent members. Yeah, for a governance of family-owned firm, it has to be a mixture of family and independent members. Independent directors can provide objective viewpoints and help prevent potential conflicts of interest. Yeah, and they should not just be there to be seen. There has to be professionalism, as we have said. Yeah, they should not just be put there as non-members just to show just for purposes of law or that. Yeah, they have to be there on professional basis. Yeah, there has to be communication and transparency. Open communication among family members, shareholders, stakeholders. There has to be those things, communication and transparency for the success of the organization. Considering the emergence board governance, we are looking at the way, the way we considered the traditional model. Yeah, board governance. Yeah, corporate board governance has been evolving over a time. We are departing from the traditional where the shareholders were there and they would not release their powers, they would not look and consider the interest of the other stakeholders within the organization, to a place where we are now embracing the modern type of governance where everyone is important. So what are we saying under emerging board governance? We are saying as Kenya, and you're looking at our country, democracy matures, there is a growing recognition of the need for strong governance structures for these independent offices and commissions. An emerging board governance model is being developed to enhance transparency. The current emerging board governance model is being developed to enhance transparency, yeah, accountability and effectiveness, unlike where we are coming from, the traditional way, which was hierarchical, which was centric of power. So this one is embracing transparency, accountability, and also effectiveness. So we can say key elements of the emerging model. What are the key elements of the emerging models? Those are the things to look at. Yeah, how is it different from the traditional model? Emerging board governance. Yeah, we look at things, key indicators or key elements under this. We can call them key elements of the emerging elements, yeah, of the emerging board of governance. There is independent boards, yeah. At least the boards are independent. Each independent officer or commission would have its own governing board composed of individuals known as expertise, integrity, commitment to public service. The board is independent, yeah. And then we're saying each independent officer or commission would have its own governing board, yeah, composed of, you see, different boards, yeah, like the way we talked about the advisory board based on their expertise. And then they're able to bring independent, they're able to bring people from different fields, yeah? The way we say, like people of different skills. Like in a board, you'll find there lawmakers. In a board, you'll find financial officers. In a board, you'll find doctors. I mean, they bring all those people together and all of them are independent, yeah? The appointment and composition. Board members would be appointed through a transparent and a merit-based process, yeah? The composition would include experts from relevant fields such as law, human rights, the way you have said in point number 1. The thing is here, appointment and composition, yeah, definitely is from people from various fields, but also the appointment is very transparent and merit-based process. The other element is diverse perspectives, yeah? Where in diverse, the board would be diverse in terms of gender, yeah? There is this rule, gender rule that applies everywhere, even in the boards, yeah? We are very sensitive in terms of gender, ethnicity, not just one type, tribe, age, there is inclusion of the old and the young. Gone are the days in the tradition, it was only the old people who are considered to be, wisdom was because of age. In the modern or the emerging board governance, age is an issue that has to be considered. It is a combination of the elderly or the aged and the young and professional backgrounds to ensure a wide range of perspectives and prevent any undue concentration of power. Yeah, accountability mechanisms. The emerging governance has become more accountable. The boards would be accountable to the public, to all the stakeholders, and even to the constitution. They would be required to regularly report their activities, performance, compliance, and constitution mandates. Issue of transparency with the emerging board is very key. Yeah, collaboration, they have to work together with other branches of government, civil societies, organizations, and international partners to leverage expertise and resources for more effective operations. Issues on conflict management or resolution. Mechanisms for conflict resolution will be established to address disputes, yeah, that might arise between the board and the office leadership or stakeholders. Yeah, a civilized way of managing conflicts, yeah, is established in the new or the emerging board governance. Public participation, democracy is embraced, yeah. The emerging model would emphasize public participation in the selection of board members as well as in the decision making. So we have looked at all the board governance models, the old, the modern, and even how to manage a govern a family-owned farm, and also looking at the way the evolving nature of management or governance, corporate governance, and where we are now, the modern type of corporate governance that has been embraced by all the organizations. We now come to the end of this lesson, and hope you've had fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next class. Thank you. Bye for now.